Inside is a puzzle platformer from Playdead, it's the same studio that made Limbo. This was an Xbox One exclusive and it just came to PC like a couple weeks later. So this is an indie game, it is $20 and it took me about 3.5–4 hours to beat. And Inside is very, very, very atmospheric. The visuals are like very low color palette. So the last game, Limbo, was like just stark black and white. This is mostly black and white, but there's some muted colors here and there. And it is at times a beautiful game. Like if this were a movie, it would get like an A+ for cinematography. Just how shadows and lights are, just is very, very well done. And maybe this is just me, but the only settings on PC that you can adjust are the resolution and the brightness. So I get it, it's a dinky little Unity engine game, but it's still, you gotta have something, man. But even at 1080p resolution, I thought the game looked very, very blurry and film grainy. Part of that might be the art style, because sometimes they have like dust in the air or you're underwater and the beams are like catching on stuff, so I don't mean that looks very good. But just like the edges around things are very like unclear. I mean, it hurt my eyes and I kind of had to squint at it. The frame rate was nice and smooth though, so any dips you might see in the gameplay footage, that's on me. It's because my computer couldn't handle recording and playing at the same time. But other than that, the game is very well polished. I guess that's what you get when you spend 5 years on a game this small. Just the animations themselves, as the player character like moves along things, like how he touches like the world around him is like very realistic. This game is basically Limbo with zombies, and it's like the only zombie game where the zombies are the good guys. Now, as short as the game is, it still manages to be tedious and slow at times. There are a couple puzzles that require a lot of backtracking, especially since the movement is so realistic and floaty and smooth, and it's just all like, it's really slow at a couple times. And in the world itself, clearly they're going for that kind of like minimalistic storytelling thing. Usually I hate that, but I feel it was done well enough here where I could get the basic understanding of what was happening. Alright, you're this little kid and everyone's trying to kill you and you don't really know why. And you find all these zombies and you assume there's some kind of government conspiracy theory, but there's little things you see here and here. And in this case, I think the game world on its own is actually quite fascinating, especially with the final act. The final act is pretty neat, especially since it happened right after the super slow-ass puzzles. So when that happened, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm very engaged again. The game picked up its pace. I mean, the ending is good, but it's not that good, so don't get, like, excited for it or you won't like it. It is at first one of those kind of was that it endings, but it grew on me after a few seconds. The game world itself I liked a lot, and I'm like, clearly there's something going on here, but this game's ending does not give you any answers at all, and it initially comes across as very unsatisfying. It's like super vague for the sake of being vague, and you're like, I hate this is dumb. But I don't know, I ended up liking it. I imagine this is one of those games that'll have a bunch of explained and what everything means lore videos on YouTube. I feel this game does a better job than most games that try to do the visual storytelling better. It's like you don't have to go through and read item descriptions, you can just see what's happening. And kind of, it's implied why that's happening. It's vague, but as the game presented the world, I did like it. But I can guarantee you people are gonna say it's some kind of allegory about social classes and the injustice of how that stuff works, and that's just stupid. You can just tell it's one of those games when in everyone's reviews they say like, oh, it's like reflecting humanity or something stupid like that. No, can something just be cool for the sake of being cool? For goodness sakes. Everything doesn't have to mean something. It's like when your English teacher is like analyzing the shit out of every line in The Taming of the Shrew and you're like, we don't care. It is amazingly short and simple for taking 5 freaking years to make. Playdead, world's slowest development team. Maybe they're all like amputated arms, so they have to like push buttons a lot slower. Could you go your whole life without playing Inside? Sure. But I don't know, commanding an army of zombie men is something I haven't really done anywhere else. Inside is hugely overpriced, it's hugely overrated, but I did enjoy playing through it, and for that I can give it a 7 out of 10. On a Steam sale.